Hello, this is the Greenbrier Valley Church of the Nazarene with your daily devotion for Wednesday, October the 14th. Today our scripture verse comes from the book of Ruth, chapter 2, and we'll be looking at two sections of verses 1 through 3, and then verses 14 through 18. This is the word of the Lord. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." So she went out, entered the field, and began to glean behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. And now let's jump over to verses 14 through 18. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar." When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men, "Let her gather among the shears and do not reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and do not rebuke her." So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. This is the word of the Lord. The title today of the article by Karen Rittenhouse is "Provide for Your Family." And the focus verse is from verse 18. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gleaned. Now Ruth was extremely brave. She had lived the entirety of life in Moab and now found herself in a foreign land. It was Ruth's responsibility to help provide for her mother-in-law. Ruth went to work doing the only thing a woman in those days could do. She decided to go to a field being harvested and trail behind those harvesting to pick up any grain that was left. In a turn that only God could bring about, Ruth found favor with Boaz, who allowed Ruth to eat a meal with the other workers. Even then, she was thinking of Naomi and returned home with food left over from her meal. Being a part of the family of God, it is important to remember that we are tasked with the responsibility of taking care of each other. Ruth seems the key figure in this story, but Boaz played an important role. He recognized that Ruth needed help, and he provided for her. In turn, Ruth provided for Naomi. Ruth did not only think of herself. She always had a goal in mind to make sure Naomi was cared for. The church today can learn from Ruth. God uses our own abundance to help care for the others who are in need. And the hymn by Charles Wesley is "Jesus, my strength, my hope. I want a true regard, a single steady aim, unmoved by a threatening reward, to thee and thy great." And a parallel verse comes from 1 John chapter 4, verses 21. "And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brothers and sisters." This is your daily devotion for Wednesday, October 14th. Have a wonderful day.